Do people sometimes believe certain things regardless of whether they're true because they would like to believe them? Do they sometimes believe those things regardless of the truth and yet believe that they're believing the truth? Welcome to Trinity Radio. You found the Christian channel that loves atheists. We're not looking here at, well, okay, what are we doing here? Freely disobey. God does not exist. I just lack a belief in God. God does not exist. But here okay, so I've got a sneaking suspicion God does not exist. So this is gonna do it. We shouldn't be believers after this. Let's jump in. So we've already heard this one before. People believe different things, that God doesn't exist. It's actually kind of strange because it seems like by this God as designer does not exist. No, God does not exist. God doesn't exist. You can't say that it was God, Mr. Theist, Mr. Christian, because if you do, you're just using the God of the gaps. I have no idea how this even gets off the ground. A bunch of Christians I've heard talk about the age of the earth are just wrong. Sometimes they just need a hug. But you can't continue doing that with a straight face unless you're prepared to respond to these kinds of challenges, or at least note that the vast majority of Christian apologetic literature out there and stuff like that's aimed at tackling these objections doesn't go about it the way I'm saying Christians always go about it. The idea is instead, no, we become Christians because we realize that we are immoral. God is evil. These are meaningful, objective statements. 1 + 1 = 3. Well, I don't buy that. I don't believe that. If you believe that, proves that God doesn't exist. Therefore, God probably doesn't exist for recreational purposes. Here's a question for the internet. You as an individual should look into things more deeply. And I came to hold that was because I read it in a comic book. God doesn't exist. God doesn't exist. You shouldn't believe this. Something to do with reasons, because I read that in a comic book. There's no evidence. They don't believe that God exists. And there it is. Jesus isn't cool, horrible creature. God is evil. You shouldn't believe this.